There's been nearly a metric ton of activity in the Pilot Flying J project since the last time I did an update, but I was unfortunately having to slow roll doing one of these updates because I was transposing all of my pips over to the Google Maps file. But let's go ahead and go to that now. I'm kind of proud of my progress. This is what it's going to look like, but because it's not a static map, there's definitely a lot of capabilities. Like I could zoom in here, obviously the different layers, the topographical versus the travel. And travel is probably a little bit better for the discussions here. I'm thinking I might make this available publicly. I'm a little nervous as a professional technologist of sharing things publicly. It's not because I don't think there's ways of protecting it. What I don't trust are the back-end providers in order to not make a whoops and all of a sudden, someone deletes it or something. I don't know. Anyway, so what is I wanted to call out here is several things. So with the travel, obviously Interstate 40 has been very heavily targeted. They have 40 built out more so than any other interstate, but it is a long interstate. I mean, it goes all the way from North Kakalaki all the way over to LA. And there's one additional station that's being held up in North Kakalaki over here near the beach. It's not under construction yet, but you can see 40 kind of makes a big bend to the south going into Wilmington, and it's right here in a town called Warsaw, and we're still waiting for that one to start under construction. NEVI in the state of North Carolina is basically in stasis. I haven't seen any progress at any NEVI stations. I have heard rumblings of the second round of funding beginning, but so far none of the first round stations have been built. This one here in Kannapolis actually received funds from VW Dieselgate. In fact, most of the ones in the state of North Carolina receive funds from VW Dieselgate. The one in Waynesville and out here in Kenley, in Graham, North Carolina, those all receive funds from Dieselgate, and as a result have a Chatham handle. But let's see. So 40 was one I was going to call out. The other one that is recently been getting a lot of love is up here. I think it's 80 that cuts through Nevada. You can see Wells and Femley, I believe is how it's pronounced, or Firmly, Nevada, are two new ones recently spotted. And I think both of them are Canopy locations. So 80, they already had Winnemucca open, is a new target of theirs. And also the state of Wyoming, because I think 80 traverses there, and they've decided to target 80 pretty heavily now. All these pips are getting built out, plus additional ones in the state of Wyoming, because when we get to the actual tally at the end, you'll see that the state of Wyoming is up there. And normally this is like what a CPO is going to do is last. Obviously Montana is still lacking, but it's interesting to see that Wyoming definitely has been in the sights of Pilot Flying J. Not so much Nebraska, but definitely Missouri has got a ton of stations. So another thing that I've been seeing that they've been targeting is this one right here, which I think is 55. What interstate is that? Come on. 39? That's not right. I thought it was 50. Oh, 55 comes out of Chicago, but it's, I guess, what interstate is it? Yeah, I guess it's Interstate 39 that cuts through, links up with 55s, and then continues south. But if you look here, 57 also. So they're starting to do more north-south routes as well. And so with the map I had previously, it was basically getting too crowded, and you couldn't do the zoom in, zoom out, and look at the plots on a given interstate as easily as I can now. But one thing to point out here in St. Louis, for sure, they're looking to fill in a lot. And St. Louis is famous for being a juggernaut of interstates. When you look at all these different interstates that fan out from St. Louis as a result of being a river city and having to cross the bridges across the wider part of the Mississippi River, a lot of interstates coalesce there. And as a result, we've got 4 stations, 3 open, 1 under construction, with very large stall counts. This one here is 6 stalls underneath a canopy, and then on the other side too. So this area in St. Louis is interesting, and again, because of the density of the pips, I couldn't really do these like zoom in, zoom out like the state of Ohio, and its building has basically stalled out. I haven't seen anything new under construction or open in the state of Ohio in a very long time. This one is Bath, New York. It's been sitting out there forever, but it's interesting to be able to do the zoom in, zoom out option. And it did take a long time and tedious work in order to get this map populated with all the pips, but now that it is, it's pretty light work for me to just do the net new and the changes, which we'll get to here in just a second. Let's go ahead and switch back to the slide deck. I did mention last time about the Findlay, Ohio getting rebuilt from scratch, and this was a drone shot put into social. You can see the EV charging station was left untouched, basically. You can see the asphalt there is not the dark asphalt, it's the lighter asphalt. Basically, they left that untouched, but they did rebuild everything else, and there was additional pictures. This one here is a ground level picture. You can see the charging station over here, Taco Bell, brand new facility, brand new gas pumps, and the EV charging station underneath the Canopy. And if you want to know where it is, it's northwest of Columbus on your way into Toledo. So brand new charging, a brand new facility for the charging station there. Additionally, it was posted into a C-Store, I don't know, what is CSP? C-Store something. It's a publication for C-Stores. That Pilot is launching, and this is not EV specific, but Pilot is launching a mobile ordering at their travel centers. So if you're en route and you know you're going to be stopping there and you want to order some food, you can. And then when you get there, there's an alert when your order is ready for pickup. Now, inside Pilot Flying J's, I was thinking about this. I'm not sure how much of an advantage it is. You walk in, and they basically have a hot food bar, and they cycle it through during different times of the day. Pizza is a pretty staple, but some of them have pretty extensive food bars. For instance, the Flying J in Graham, North Carolina, off Interstate 40 is a very heavily used property, and they have a full Denny's sit-down restaurant, but they also have a very large food bar where you can get fried chicken, meatloaf, green beans, mashed potatoes, desserts. They also have the pizzas and sandwiches, all kinds of things, fried chicken, and sometimes I've seen pork chops, a few other things that are kind of like meal type things, but there's never been a wait. It's not like I see any advantage to ordering ahead except for Pilot, because then they have a captive customer. Now you have to go there because your food is waiting. But if you're sitting out and you want to cycle through the menu, I guess that's one thing that's an advantage. You don't have to get out of your car to see what's inside the store. You can pull up the Pilot app and see what's inside there. But, you know, you're talking 20 steps max in order to get inside there, and a no-wait hot food bar is basically what you have. But regardless, something they're trying to innovate with. I will put the link to this article down below in the description. Oh, C-Store P Daily. I don't know what the P stands for. Anyway. Okay, and under the stations that have more than 4 stalls, this list is rapidly increasing and starting to become unruly. This station actually opened, but there's not a good picture since it's opened. It's only recently opened, like as of, I think, today or the day before. And someone did take a picture, but it was not as good as this one. So we've got 8 stalls underneath a huge canopy on Interstate 95 in Elkton, Maryland. And then all these have previously been shown in updates before. I'm going to keep harping on these as they cycle through. I think this is a very significant thing, not only for the Pilot Flying J project, but EV charging in general, because a large C-store like Pilot Corp, recognizing mid-project that they're not putting in enough stalls, is saying that they're looking at spreadsheets of income, and they're seeing a lot of black ink and indicating that they're making a profit. So what does a company do when they see profit? They want to make more profit. And it seems as though their path to success is now including the formula of EV charging stalls. The first 6-stall pull-through canopy location has now been spotted. Pontoon Beach, Illinois. So if you're pulling a trailer, we have seen 4-stall canopy stations. In fact, this is the most popular form factor. You can see the GM Energy dispensers over here in that picture. Now, it's the same thing, it's just bigger. So underneath the canopy, so all the things you'd come to expect with that, plus an additional dispenser right in the middle here. I'm kind of curious to see how the lines are going to be painted for this once it's done. And this is in that St. Louis cluster that I showed at the beginning. This is what the map looks like currently of all the open. And as I mentioned, when I was using a static map similar to this, it was hard because we were getting, a lot of things just turning into all pips. But now I could zoom in and out, and it definitely is beneficial in that respect. Feel free to go unplug share and explore for yourself. Very similar to my map, but only showing the open stations. Progress over time, we saw a significant increase of multiple stations opening specifically on November 1st. And we're still making very steady progress through 2025. And it is interesting to note that they seem to have found a pattern where they're able to continually sustain openings. Like they're in the middle of the project, and they know exactly what they need to do in order to open these stations, and they're just churning it out. They're just continuing to execute. And that's why we see this nice flat 45-degree line on the way up to 2027 is what we're told is when we will have 500 stalls or 500 stations. Okay, so this is this update. And as I said, I've been a laggard here trying to create my map. So it took a while to get all these pips put into that custom Google map. And as a result, Pilot Flying J basically lapped me. And I have to break this up into two slides. The first one is ones that have opened. Birmingham, Alabama, right here. This was a bit of a sleeper site. It showed up just before it opened. Clear Lake, Iowa, which is up here near the Minnesota border. This is actually, the name of the town, Altorn, is actually named, it's got like two names, and I forgot the other one, something Heights. But it's over here also in that St. Louis cluster on the Illinois side. Mount Vernon, Illinois is up here near the Wisconsin border. I'm sorry, no. Mount Vernon is down here east of St. Louis. It's South Bellet that's up here near the Wisconsin border. Colby, Kansas, starting to fill in more in Kansas. Where did my Colby, Kansas one go? Oh, here it is. I'm sorry. Right up here where Interstate 70 makes a big bend from northwest route to due west. Intergrove Heights, Minnesota, south of Minneapolis. Grand Prairie, Texas. This is one that is kind of interesting to me, which I'll get to in just a second. Haines City, Florida, south of Orlando. It used to be a no man's land, but there's a lot of metropolitan creep from Orlando and Tampa that's starting to take over Haines City. It used to just be farmland, but not anymore. Elkton, Maryland, as I said, right at a juggernaut of Interstate 95 with 8 stalls now open. Grantsville, Maryland, over here in the panhandle of Maryland, near West Virginia, is where I remember passing by it. Columbia, South Carolina, this is a Canopy station that is now open. It's a pull-through 4-stall Canopy station right in the heart of South Carolina. Tallysville, Virginia, it is east of Richmond. And Wamsutter, Wyoming, right over here in the Interstate 80 push through Wyoming. Spotted under construction, Pontoon Beach, Illinois. As I mentioned, that's the pull-through Canopy location. Huntington, Louisiana, now spotted under construction. This is east of Dallas, and I forgot what interstate this is. This might be Interstate 20, I want to say, but maybe not. I apologize, I don't remember. Fernley, Nevada, which is up here. Boron, California, over here, baking in the desert. And Tumwater, Washington, up here south of Seattle. It's actually Olympia, Washington, but I think the actual address is Tumwater. When you zoom into a picture of the location, the actual facility says Tumwater on it. So very close to Olympia, though. This is what it looks like in table form for the open locations. I'm going to pause here for a second. Sorted by time zone. This is what it looks like in table form for under construction. And as I mentioned, actually, let me go back. There's something I need to call out here. This one right here in Grand Prairie, Texas, is the first location at a non-pilot run facility. It's at a Mr. Fuel, and this is a pilot dealer. So it's similar to like the 1.9. Some of the 1.9s are like that, but that's where a local business owner is having Pilot supply the gas for their pumps, but they actually operate the C-store. And it's not near an interstate. It's just right in the middle of the Metroplex in Grand Prairie, Texas. And very interesting to me. I don't know how many times they're going to do this or how they worked out the arrangements since they don't own the land. Maybe they just asked for permission and the owner gave them permission, or I'm not sure exactly how that worked out. But that's definitely a unicorn in this entire project. I've never seen anything like that. Okay, spotted under construction in table form. Pausing here for a second. As you will notice, Dale King is a reliable source for spotting because he's one of the owners of the company that's actually building these stations. And he probably, rightly so, posts into social media as new stations start to get built. Various counts were at 235 open, 17 spotted under construction. Texas is way out in front. Interstate 40 is in front, but starting to close in. A couple of things that I want. Wyoming, 7. South Carolina, 7. Holy smokes. These are normally areas that are really charging deserts, but not to Pilot Flying J. They are filling in the dark corners of the map. Also Oklahoma with 8. What was the other one I was going to call out here? California starting to creep up. It was a laggard, but it is now starting to catch up. The Central Time Zone is pushed out ahead, almost 10 ahead of the Eastern Time Zone. And one thing that is also worth mentioning is that the count of under construction is dramatically decreasing because, as I said, they're in the middle of this project, and every time something gets spotted, it just gets finished and done, and they move on to the next one. They're definitely decreasing the amount of time it takes for them to open these stations. They're on their game, they found their stride, and as a result, our ability to find stations that are spotted under construction is diminishing because they just churn them out so fast. You know, nothing is sitting around besides Bath, New York. Nothing is sitting around a long time with construction pending. They have definitely figured out how to open EV charging stations on their property by now. Highly successful. I'm going to go ahead and roll the slide deck that shows all the Canopy locations, both open and spotted under construction. Thank you very much for watching.